Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is HD Starcraft, and I am back for Game 3 here between Startail Bomber and, of course, between Scarlett from the WCS Season 2 Round of 8. And what a pleasure it's been to cast these games. Of course, after this, I'll be moving on into better and better games. Hope you guys will continue to stay tuned. Do subscribe at youtube.com/HD Starcraft. We do have Bomber as the red Terran player in the bottom right-hand corner of the map. We have Scarlett as the blue Zerg at the top left-hand corner of the map. It is going to be a Zerg versus Terran here. This map considerably smaller than the rest, Belshir Vestige, and one of the maps where I think Terran actually have a bit of an easier time against Zerg, especially in the late game. There's a lot of rocks, a lot of high ground, low ground mechanics going on here, and choke points, making it a little bit more difficult, I think, for Zerg to be able to swarm, to be able to really get some open field to play with, and I think because of that, it does become a bit of a Terran's playground, and one thing that Bomber can certainly utilize to his advantage. So we'll see what happens here in Game 3. It is currently tied up at 1-1 apiece. Both of these players obviously very closely matched. And I've got to say, I'm pretty stoked to be able to finally cast a nice close Zerg versus Terran. The last couple of ones I've done with Jaedong, I've got to say, have been a little bit disappointing because Jaedong wasn't able to win any of them. He actually kind of just got blown out in all the games, although they were all very close games, if I recall correctly. He just wasn't able to win any, and that's always a bit disheartening. So we'll see here what happens in Game 3. Scarlett is going to be going for another expansion. That is very smart. You want to get those hatcheries down right away. And, you know, both of these players are kind of a no frills, no fanciness. You know, they don't have any crazy cheese up their sleeves. They play by the book, but you know, by that token, it's fun to watch because you get to see both players StarCraft at the very highest level in the late game, and you know, both of them just playing at such an incredible rate. It's quite awesome to watch. So we'll see what happens. Like I said before, anything can happen at such a high level of StarCraft. We do have this SCV coming out to the natural expansion. It is going to make an expansion to plant down there. Has a command center coming. Spawning pool on the way as well for Scarlett. She is actually getting pretty quick gas this time around, though. And it looks like she's pulled one drone off gas now. So that is a little interesting. You didn't see this in Game 1 or Game 2. Scarlett going for the quick gas now on Belshir Vestige. I do think it's one of those maps where you want to make sure you don't fall behind in tech, because you can get attacked early on. This is the one map, I think, where you might not see a late game from both of these players because it's so small, and because I think Scarlett herself might realize this isn't a fantastic map for late game ZvT. So having said that, I do think that this is one of those situations where Scarlett might be getting early gas for defensive purposes, but, and yeah, it looks like she is. She's going to be going for an expansion, and the reason she went for the gas, not to go for an all-in, although it's always possible she could, I'm deducing here she's just getting the gas for early Zergling speed. And once she gets 100 gas, which she does have right now, there we go, Zergling speed is going to be researched. So, yeah, that's the strategy here, and it looks like she's leaving one drone on gas, so we may see a Roach Horn as well. A couple of barracks being added on back at home for Bomber, and you'll note he is not going for a macro CC on this map. This is also a map where, as Terran, you don't want to, you know, fool yourself into thinking, oh, it's great, I'm just going to go for another command center, no problem. Who's going to attack me? Well, you know, the answer to that question is a lot can attack you, and you got to play it careful. You got to play according to the map and your comfort zone. And this is a map where I think going for you know, a little bit more of a standard 2-base style is the proper strategy. And it looks like God, I just keep calling her Toss Girl because of this, and you know, she's a she, and yeah. Scarlett is glancing at the front out here, but she isn't going to risk losing the Overlord yet. Usually, as Zerg, you want to send that Overlord in around 6.5 minutes. If you want to find out what's going on, it's usually a good time. If you can't get, say, for example, some Zerglings to run by the front door. Because around the 6.5 minute mark is when the Terran typically will end up revealing what technological route he's going to go for. One hatchery is out here at the top right hand side. We do have combat shields being produced at the tech lab for this Terran army as well, and it looks like he's going to be going for early combat shields. Usually, I feel like if a Terran's going for combat shields as an indicator, they want to be a little bit more defensive. But one thing that's a little interesting is early combat shields can also be used as an early aggressive maneuver, because when you have such a small army of Marines, what good is Stim really? Stim kind of multiplies exponentially the more Marines you have. So if you are going to go for a really early attack, a lot of times combat shields is going to be a better upgrade because it just multiplies that much better when you have more Marines. So and plus, you know, Stim pack works better with medevacs. So you're not going to have medevacs in the early stages. So I think Bomber here is going for a really early attack with these combat shielded Marines, and that combat shield upgrade is going to come through in about 15 seconds. These Marines are going to be able to punch through, and a bit of an awkward timing here is going to be able to do some serious damage to Scarlett, and Scarlett doesn't have any defenses here. She's already lost 5 drones, and I think she's going to lose this hatchery as well. Oh, this is absolutely brutal for Scarlett, and the combat shield upgrade comes through as well. Scarlett now realizing, wow, I'm in a lot of trouble, and it looks like these Marines just easily able to rip through that hatchery, killing off the drones as well. And now, will Bomber stick around? I don't think he will. I think he's going to pull back now. You know, mission accomplished. What's the reason to stay around? Get surrounded by Zerglings? That's never a good strategy. And it looks like he's on the way back home right now. He's got to be careful. He's got to keep the Marines clumped up, though. And it looks like these Marines are in a little bit of trouble. They're going to get surrounded by these Zerglings. But at the end of the day, I think they've done their job. Even if they all die off here, it's okay. They killed off a hatchery. And, you know, at the end of the day, they killed off some Zerglings as well. And a great job by Bomber. All those Marines deserve, you know, a medal for valor right there. And now, I think Scarlett might be forced into doing something a little bit desperate here. She is going for a Spire. She is going to try to bust through the front door with some Zerglings, but it's quickly fortified by barracks and supply depots. And now I think maybe Scarlett might be thinking, well, I lost my hatchery. Do I really want to try to recover from a loss like that? That's absolutely debilitating. Maybe her best shot here is to go for a Baneling bust, and I think she might be preparing to do just that. She has a Baneling nest back at home. She actually has a Spire coming up as well, and she's saving up a lot of gas, so I think, you know, maybe she might be going for mutas here. And she sees that there's a siege tank on the high ground too. That's one way to deter a Zerg from saying, oh, I'm going to go for a Baneling bust. So I think now what Scarlett is going to try to do is transition and try to play macro still. She is going to go for that third expansion once again. She's going to try to get to some sky control here with her mutas. And, you know, if she can actually recover from this, that would be pretty sick. Considering the damage she's taken already. You can see she's down by about 10 supply, maybe even more. And we'll see what happens here. But is she producing mutas? It actually looks like it looks like she doesn't have any mutas on the map. She decided to just go for centrifugal hooks, and she's gonna go for an attack here with her Zerglings and her Banelings. So she is not gonna go for mutas. She's just gonna try to do as much damage as possible, realizing, well, the Terran's already getting a third base. I've just got to get in here with my Banelings, and will these Banelings get a detonation? Very close there. Actually looks like she got quite a few SCVs as they were jam-packed and clumped up. She was able to kill off about 11 SCVs right there with her Banelings, and just like that, Scarlett building a little bit of momentum, swaying it back on her side, and that is exactly what she needed to do. And I was a little bit kind of concerned that she was going to go for mutas there, because I just don't think it was going to work out. Bomber's already on the third base. She's already taken damage. She needs to be aggressive back to Bomber, and that's exactly what she just did. Great job by Scarlett. And now will she be able to capitalize? She's actually still down in supply, believe it or not. She was able to kill off 11 SCVs, but if you look at the resources lost tab, she's still lost about 500 or 600 more than her opponent has. And it looks like now Bomber's pushing out. He's going with Mech Marine here, Siege Tank Marine, and he's going to be able to fortify this position against this hatchery, and he's going to be able to kill off the hatchery once again. Bomber with yet another cold and calculating strike against the Zerg expansion. Another reason why this map does not favor late game Zerg is because a Terran player can easily set up tanks, Marines, Widow Mines at this choke point and just shell shock the expansion. And that's exactly what Bomber was able to do. Scarlett not in a good position here, trying to reclaim yet another hatchery. Still is only on 2 bases, trying to get a third base up and running and operational. Has to worry about the tanks and Marines at this position. I think she's going to prepare to do a surround here from 2 different angles to take out the Marines and tanks here. But does she have enough forces to do so? Her army is actually stretched quite thin here. And you can see that Bomber is continuing to build up back at home. Has some medevacs loading up with 16 Marines here. And no doubt looking to do a little bit of damage against the Zerg economy. Now it looks like Scarlett is going to move in. She will have enough to kill off the tanks and Marines. But like I said before, the damage has been done. And here comes Bomber. While those forces were occupied on the right-hand side of the map, he drops off 16 Marines. And these Marines are stemmed up. They're ready to take out this expansion. It is in the red. And it looks like Transfuse does go down, but it will not be enough to save this hatchery. And Bomber takes out yet another expansion of Scarlett. Scarlett has lost 3 hatcheries this game already, and things are quickly unraveling out of control for the Zerg player. She just cannot stand up to this kind of pressure, and I think now it's got to be clear as day. She is going to be forced to go all in. Will she have enough forces behind to do some type of damage to try to get back in this game? Looks like she's going to take out a couple of these Marines and medevacs here with her very large Mutalisk army, but once again pushed away by the reinforcements. And it looks like Scarlett just says, well, I'm just going to try to go for another hatchery. And I don't know if that's, I don't know if that's the right decision, because, I applaud her for not giving up, but at this point, is it really feasible to try to re-expand when you're down this many bases, when you've lost this many expansions already? I say just go for an attack or something, try to break this expansion down and hope for a miracle. But yeah, there you have it. It looks like Bomber dropping into the main base once again, and Scarlett does have some mutas in position. She will be able to actually take out this medevac, but you can see that Bomber is the general here, and he is just, maneuvering his chess pieces into the right position here, waiting for the right hole to exploit. And now I think he's gonna go, honestly, he can just sit back and macro, but he doesn't need to do that. It's 3 base versus 3 base. He can keep the pressure on, and it looks like he's gonna try to break Scarlett's back here and send this army in. If this hatchery goes down, I think that's going to be GG. And Scarlett knows it. She has to defend. Gonna send all her Banelings and Mutas in. Widow Mines detonating all over the place. And these Marines are going to get taken out, actually. Scarlett with the defense. No! Actually, Marines hiding in the back corner here. Just enough left behind to maybe take out this hatchery. And, oh, more Marines coming around the left. That's got to be it. Oh, and a command center being constructed. Bomber with the taunt. And Bomber knows this game is his to take. So GG. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to go on to Game 4. It is 2-1 right now in favor of Bomber. Hope you guys enjoyed. Game 4 coming up next. This is HD, signing out.